Good evening, Your Excellency, Madame la Secrétaire Générale. Approximately 250 years ago, a man by the name of François-Marie Harouet, known by his nom de plume Voltaire, published a novella by the name of Candide, or L'Optimisme. The English translation of L'Optimisme, of course, rather apt for today's debate, is entitled Candide, All for the Best. What we've heard all throughout this debate, ladies and gentlemen, from side opposition is a poor man's, layman's version of Candide. If you're going to tell us that everything is horrid, that nothing works out for the best, and that life may very well be meaningless and absurd, at least give us the example of a man who was robbed, a man who was nearly hung, a man who was arrested and left to die in that most horrible of places. Of course, I speak of the United States of America. Now, ladies and gentlemen, approximately 150 years after Voltaire, Friedrich Nietzsche came up with a response to this most existential of cries. And what he decided to write to a good friend of his is that we ought to learn from the past, we ought to be inspired by our vision of the future, and yet we ought to shape the present by these two visions. Nietzsche put this ever so eloquently through the metaphor of a dance, ladies and gentlemen. Those who could be seen to be dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music, ladies and gentlemen. We on side proposition have been arguing from the perspective of the music of life, from the perspective of the dance and the bounty of life. Side opposition, on the other hand, has been arguing from the perspective of absurdity, of existential threats, of the absolute lack of meaning, of any sort of meaningful existence. Ladies and gentlemen, back to this metaphor of a dance. Ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from the anthropologist, from the evolutionary biologist, and of course, from our sociologist, and now you'll hear from the ballerina, myself. On this topic of a dance, let us commence with the dance. Jean-Baptiste told us that very eloquently, he gave us a very eloquent tirade about how appearance is all that matters, not reality. That if the appearance is well, then that is well. But ladies and gentlemen, as Jean-Paul Sartre once said, if appearance is reality, what then is reality if not appearance? Ladies and gentlemen, this is precisely what we have been arguing this entire debate. This is precisely what John has been saying this entire debate, that when the individual perceives, yes, when the individual perceives the end as good, the end is good, please.
Well, it's a bit off point for now, but
sure.
Still.
No, please.
I'm wondering, how did your ballerina careers end?
My dance is still halfway through its procession, and if you give me a few minutes, it will end with a bang and not with a whimper. Ladies and gentlemen, John responded to this claim by saying that is precisely our point, ladies and gentlemen. Our point is that if an individual's perception of the end is well, then the entire experience is well. Afterwards, we heard from Paul, who explained how sociology functions, how mankind functions. As a species, he learns from his past, he is inspired by his future, and he shapes his present. In return, we heard from Muhammad. Muhammad said that, because of the evils of human nature, what can go wrong will go wrong. He said that, quote unquote, happy endings do not exist. And ladies and gentlemen, we agree. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not hopeless idealists, but we are men of opportunity. We were not all blessed with the laissez-faire perspective of side opposition. Indeed, who in our midst has not faced struggles in our day-to-day lives? But ladies and gentlemen, we shape our lives and we shape our dance's pattern. A dance has rhythm, a dance has formal order. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has a series, and altogether it is a work of art. Even in the dingiest of places, in the dingiest of nightclubs, if I am permitted to speak of this setting with this most august audience, you have a certain poetry, you have a certain rhythm, you have a certain synthesis of the way that the neon lights work together with the tapping of the feet and the stench of one too many gin and tonics. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our side. Our side is the side of formal order. It's learning from the past, it's shaping the present, and it's aspiring to the bounties of the future. It has nothing to do with the existential threats of side opposition, which we'll hear right now. Thank you.
So with your understanding, say you miss a plane and then the plane crashes and everybody dies in it. Would you say all's well that ends well with your perception?
Certainly not. Certainly not, because
Thank
the
you.
perception of those on the plane, unfortunately, they wouldn't have one. They would have died. What we are saying on side proposition is that when the perception of something is good, then that entire experience is good. Ladies and gentlemen, as Alan Bloom once said, life may very well be nasty, Brutus, and short, but it is not in fact possible to live one's everyday life as if this was the case. A life that pursues even a little bit of friendship, love, irony, humor, and parenthood cannot be said to be a meaningless life, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what we've heard all throughout this debate. What this debate comes down to is two fundamental visions of humanity, two distinct visions of humanity, two distinct crystallizations. We have the vision of side opposition, of negativity, of existential angst, of an angry 18-year-old who is not accepted to Sciences Po. Why, oh why, was I not accepted to Sciences Po? And, ladies and gentlemen, you have our side. You have the side of opportunity. You have those who learn from the past, those who accept the past, and those who shape the present. We have our response. Pull up your socks and apply once again to Sciences Po if you so wish. Ladies and gentlemen, the desires of the heart are as crooked as corkscrews. Not to be born is the best for man. Second best is a formal order. Dance while you can. Dance, 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 for the tune is beating and will not stop. Dance, 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 till the stars fall down from the rafters. Dance, 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 till you and I drop. Thank you very much.